Okay, everyone, this is what you've been waiting for.
People are mesmerized by her.
Jenna is the most successful adult film star of all time.
She is just a god.
Jenna Jameson is everything you'd expect.
And she's by far the sexiest woman to ever step foot on this planet.
And nothing you'd expect.
You gotta give it to the girl. She is smart.
In the next 2 hours, you'll meet a self-proclaimed dork who transformed herself from an ugly duckling into the queen of porn. Along the way, there were many dark days.
And I had felt abandoned, and I just dove deeper into drugs.
But Jenna overcame her past to create a multi-million-dollar merchandising empire and defied the critics by blazing a path to mainstream fame and fortune.
Jenna has done the unthinkable. She has made herself a millionaire, not just from doing porn movies. She's been in television, she's debated at Oxford, the whole 9 yards.
But despite all her riches, the little girl from Las Vegas cannot buy what she longs for most.
I miss my mother more than I can express.
This is the surrealistic saga of the most popular star in adult entertainment, a woman searching for love in a sea of lust. This is the story of Jenna Jameson, the E! True Hollywood story.
I have a lot of things that I need to get off my chest.
Her life's ambition was to be a star.
Never recover from the public sphere.
April 17th, 2003. A swarm of reporters and faithful admirers crowded around 29-year-old Jenna Jameson. Jenna was inducted into porn's version of the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I was talking to Larry Flint, and he said when you bend over to put your hands in the cement, make sure they get a really nice ass shot.
During her prolific career, Jameson's assets have turned on millions of adult video fans. She has even made waves as a mainstream actress.
Jenna, keep your head down.
Keep my head down.
Passionate, charismatic, seductive, Jenna is truly a 21st century fox. But international fame came with a steep emotional price tag.
I look back on my life, and I feel like I'm about 60 years old. It worries me for my benefit. I'm scared that I'm not going to make it through, to tell you the truth.
Jenna's fear of the future is firmly rooted in the past. She was born Jenna Marie Mazzoli, April 9th, 1974, in a most apropos place, Sin City. Jenna's father, Larry Mazzoli.
She came out of the womb with a smile on her face. I remember Jenna, she was so beautiful. I was pretty overwhelmed. I knew Jenna was going to be a heartbreaker right away.
Larry was a 34-year-old program director at the local NBC TV affiliate. Jenna's mother, 32-year-old Judith Brooke Mazzoli, was a former Vegas showgirl and a statuesque knockout.
Judy was an extremely intelligent girl from Wichita, Kansas. Not jaded, not very worldly, very genuine, very sweet. Judy's whole thrust in life was to be a wife and a mother.
Jenna had a big brother. 3-year-old Tony wasn't wild about having a baby sister.
All of a sudden, there was another little entity, and I had to share that universe. She was treated as royalty, a princess, from the time she was born.
But in early 1976, Jenna's little kingdom was torn apart. Her mother was diagnosed with skin cancer.
Judy had a mole on her shoulder that it was malignant, and she became very ill.
She couldn't bathe herself. She couldn't get up out of bed. She lost all her hair. I can remember so vividly her screaming at night from the pain.
They had given her about 6 months to live, and she only lived about 90 days.
Judith Mazzoli died on February 20th, 1976. Jenna was not yet 2 years old.
I just remember being so incredibly confused. You know, I was in diapers. I was just a little kid, and to have your mother ripped away from you that way devastated me and changed the whole course of my life.
I took Jenna and Tony to Judy's gravesite in Las Vegas probably every Sunday for a good couple of years. But it became a chore not only for me to watch the kids be sad during those times, but I felt it was debilitating for them.
Jenna's dad dealt with the loss of his wife by reevaluating his own life. Larry Mazzoli decided the time was right to fulfill a childhood dream.
I quit a lucrative career for the NBC station to become a policeman. I went to Nye County, Nevada, which is just north of Las Vegas, and got a job as the graveyard deputy.
When Mazzoli wasn't working, he tried hard to be both mother and father to his kids. Jenna competed with Tony for her dad's approval.
I would go out in the middle of the pool and try to coax my son into diving into the pool. And Jenna would be standing next to him in her diapers, just watching me. And instead of my son diving in courageously, Jenna would.
Jenna always threw caution to the wind.
I remember the pool incident. This was a turning point in my life. I would just go so far to get everybody's attention. I would do anything it took.
Even as a child, Jenna was different, and she loved to let her imagination run wild.
I used to sit on my bed and gaze out the window at the stars and think, someday I'm gonna be a star.
In 1979, the spunky 5-year-old began pursuing her dream. She enrolled at the Fern Adair Conservatory in Las Vegas.
Taking dance lessons was my idea. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be just like my mom. And she was so graceful and so amazing that I knew that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a showgirl. When I was young, I could have taken dance class for 6-8 hours a day. It's all I cared about.
Well, not the only thing.
I loved being naked. When I was younger, it felt so right. Everything felt so comfortable. And I would play doctor with my friends, and it just didn't seem like it was a bad thing. And I would sneak and look at my dad's Playboys. And I remember thinking, I want to be one of those girls so bad. They're so pretty. I would pray that I looked like them when I was older.
But Jenna couldn't wait. During her grade school years, she begged Dad to enter her in local beauty pageants.
I would strap my banner to myself, put my crown on, and I would walk the streets of Las Vegas asking for sponsorship. I'd go into the car dealerships, begging, please, just sponsor me. I had major self-esteem problems. I was always trying to outdo myself. I felt like I had to prove myself constantly because I felt alone, lonely, and I wanted everyone to love me.
Jenna often won the competitions, but still had a tough time loving herself.
And I went into this very gawky stage. I was very thin, my head was really big, my teeth were really messed up, I wore glasses, I had braces, and I looked like a boy. And I remember in school, in gym class, looking at all the other girls who were already shapely, and I looked like I was in 3rd grade, you know? It was horrible.
Jenna's school years were an unstable time for the entire Mazzoli family. They moved frequently while Dad worked as a police officer.
My father was looking for happiness after my mother died, and he drug us cross country and back, and that made my life incredibly hard as a child. That's probably why I'm so aggressive when it comes to meeting people. I was put into so many different schools that I was never able to make friends.
All that changed during the summer of 1989. 15-year-old Jenna shed her ugly duckling image and emerged as a sexy swan.
All of a sudden, boom, my boobs got huge. I mean, I can't even tell you. I weighed 90 pounds and I had like a CD cup, which is very strange for a little girl. So I remember walking into my first day of class, my sophomore year, and I wore a tight t-shirt, no bra, just because I wanted to like throw it in everybody's face. And I remember everyone looking at me going, oh my God, what happened to Jenna?
When she was around 15 years old, boys started to notice her.
It really pissed me off because I didn't like the idea of other people looking at my little sister sexually.
When the boys would come over to want to date Jenna, it was a little intimidating for them because I always answered the door in uniform with my pistol on and my nightstick. I always knew she'd get home on time.
The minute I turned into a woman, everything changed. My hormones were rushing so hard. I wanted to have sex so bad. It was uncontrollable.
Coming up, Jenna goes wild.
There was my little 16-year-old sister on the middle of the stage, buck naked. There are...
By 1989, 15-year-old Jenna Mazzoli was a vixen in training. Jenna loved to drive the boys crazy, and she was just warming up. During the early 1990s, Jenna Mazzoli ping-ponged between two different high schools in Las Vegas. The petite young blonde wasn't much of a student, but she got straight A's in drugs. Jenna's brother, Tony Mazzoli.
I started experimenting with drugs when I was very young, and Jenna saw that and followed right in my footsteps.
I loved acid, and that was about all I wanted to do. I tried pot, hated it. I always got the spins and felt like I was going to throw up.
One of my favorite activities was taking 4 or 5 hits of acid and just walking the streets of Vegas. Half the time that I would do that, Jenna would just follow behind me, making sure I didn't walk into traffic.
I did acid for quite a long time.
I really liked the feeling. I felt invincible, and I felt happy. And that was a departure for me, because a lot of my life, I've been unhappy.
I handled Jenna's experimentation with drugs probably like any other father would. I disapproved of those things, especially since I was a police officer.
Still, 15-year-old Jenna had the tough cop wrapped around her little finger.
My dad always loved me so much. It felt so good for me. He always put me on a pedestal.
I was very protective of Jenna, probably because I had lost her mother, and she reminded me of her mother so much.
My father had a very hard time connecting with me because I looked so much like my mother. I acted just like my mother, and he was always afraid of hurting me because he didn't want to hurt my mom.
I nicknamed Jenna Heartbreaker because every time I looked at her, she broke my heart.
Jenna also broke the boys' hearts.
My life was completely different after I lost my virginity. I felt like a woman for the first time in my life. And it felt like, I know it probably sounds weird, but it felt like it was my calling. I felt like it was something that I was good at, because I had this effect on men.
Jenna soon learned how to channel her raw sex appeal. One summer day in 1990, the flirtatious 16-year-old caused a near riot at a local racetrack.
I took her to a bike run right outside of Las Vegas.
And they were having a wet t-shirt contest. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I've got a rockin' bod. I'll win it.
When Jenna would see a contest, that means Jenna will get the trophy.
So I enter it, and the guys that were standing around, they were like, well, you want a shot before you go up? I'm like, okay. Do a couple shots, and that alcohol started going through my veins, and I was like, woo! Clothes coming off,
And I looked over, and there was my little 16-year-old sister on the middle of the stage, buck naked. No underwear, nothing, holding the trophy and laughing.
I remember my brother bum rushing me. What are you doing? Are you insane? And I said, I just won $500. It's like, right on. High fives all around.
Jenna's rebellious streak also led to her first serious romance.
I met him when I went into his tattoo shop, and I had wanted to get 2 hearts on my butt. And he did those hearts. And that's how our relationship started.
Jenna's derriere tattoo would one day be legendary to her fans. But it took aspiring tattoo artist Tony Mazzoli to add the finishing touch.
My brother tattooed Heartbreaker around it. I didn't want just hearts. I had to be different and extravagant, you know? Make a statement with my ass.
What a little snot she was when she was in her teen years. This girl wore me out. I mean, she was in trouble all the time.
Jenna was indeed a wild child and couldn't wait to escape from the protective custody of Officer Dad. In the fall of 1990, the high school junior busted out.
I left my house when I was 16 years old because there was so much anger inside of me. I was angry that no one realized the pain that I had gone through in my life. No one cared to know.
Except Jenna's new boyfriend, or so she thought.
I moved in with him. God, what a bad decision. That was the beginning of the end. Little did I know that I was stepping into a world of drugs, sex, and dirtiness.
17-year-old Jenna didn't exactly go kicking and screaming. She agreed to pose while her boyfriend snapped provocative photos. Jenna then applied for a gig as a dancer.
I wanted to realize my dream of being a showgirl just like my mother. I had a fake ID. My only problem was I'm only 5'6". You have to be 5'8" to be a showgirl. So I would get lifts for my shoes, and I would wear my hair really high. No one would hire me. Finally, I went to Vegas World, and I got the job. I don't know how I got it, but I got it.
Dancing at the Vegas World Casino soon lost its glamour.
It was not enough money, too long of practice time for me. So I had a discussion with my boyfriend. I said, this is horrible, I'm gonna quit, I can't take it anymore. He said, well, why don't you just go strip at the Crazy Horse? It's pretty much the same thing, it's only topless. And I came to the conclusion that it was something that I wanted to do. And I marched myself into that club all by myself, went up to Vinny, who was the manager, and I said, I want to work here.
Vinny Faraci was somewhat surprised.
She looked like a baby. So she showed me ID.
He said, how old are you? I said, 18.
Well, everything was attractive about her except she had braces.
And he goes, well, come back when you get your braces off. I walked out and I was so bummed out. I called my brother. I said, Tony, I gotta get my braces off.
She sold me on the idea of removing them.
He said, I'm coming over. He comes over. I said, can I pry them off?
I had a pair of needle nose pliers.
I said, well, let me see them. And I grabbed the little bracket on my front tooth and twisted a little bit, and it popped right off.
She winced and grimaced a few times, but we got through it.
Very next day, marched myself right back into the Crazy Horse, and I said, I want a job.
She came back without the braces, which I never expected, you know. I asked her if she was interested in working my shift.
I'm like, you want me to go on stage now? Yeah. I walked back in the dressing room, all by myself, 17 years old. And I was so scared.
Coming up, Jenna's darkest hour.
I was always the strong one. Sorry.
By 1991, Jenna Mazzoli, who later became famous as porn princess Jenna Jameson, took the stage as a topless dancer. She was only 17, and her body was about to pay a terrible price. Jenna Mazzoli got off to a shaky start at the Crazy Horse Strip Club in Las Vegas. The manager hired Jenna, then asked her to perform the same day.
I didn't have any clothes, I didn't have any heels, and a girl there was super nice, and she lent me a bikini, and I was so scared. My little knees were knocking together. It was awful.
She just got a little frazzled by it, ran to the DJ booth. She got her music, put something on, and she went out.
I remember hanging on to that pole so hard, not letting go. And when those songs ended, I remember opening my eyes and looking around, thinking that they were gonna boo, and all the guys were sitting there. And I was like, yes, power.
Jenna was a natural. She just fit right in. Jenna was loved by everybody. There could have been a guy in sneakers or a guy in a suit.
She would use her intelligence and the fact that she had no top on to clean out whoever she wanted of their money. And at 17 years old, she was like an old pro.
The first 6 months of dancing, I don't even remember the money. For me, it was all about succeeding and being my own person and making my own living.
Unbeknownst to her, I went down to the club owner and told him that it would be in his best interest that if he made sure that she was always safe and was taken care of.
By the end of 1991, 17-year-old Jenna had plenty of cash and newfound confidence.
After 6 months, I looked around and I realized, wow, I'm doing really well. I'm making $2,000 a night. And I haven't even graduated high school yet. I was living the high life.
To complete her bold new image, Jenna rechristened herself.
I had to come up with a good name. I didn't want a porno name. So I sat down, opened up the phone book, and thumbed to the J's, because I wanted it to match my first name. And I came across James. I'm like, Jenna James. Oh, that sounds too porno. Right under that was Jameson. And I was like, Jameson whiskey. Okay, that's perfect. So that night I went to work, I saw my brother. I was like, Tony, what do you think? What do you think about Jenna Jameson? He was like, I'm drinking Jameson right now. And it just stuck after that.
Jenna Jameson also lived up to the nickname Heartbreaker. She teased her customers at the club unmercifully, but deep inside, Jenna's own heart was breaking.
After I left home, my father moved. And that was earth-shattering to me. My father leaving felt like he was abandoning me.
Larry Mazzoli was living in Redding, California, just a day's drive from Las Vegas. To Jenna, it seemed like a million miles away.
There was so much anger. I had lost my mother, and I had felt abandoned by that. And then to have my father leave me in my time of need, which is what I thought at that time, killed me. And I just dove deeper into drugs.
Jenna turned from control freak to speed freak.
I started off doing speed, 1 line a day, just a little pick-me-up, no big deal. Then it got to be, okay, 5 or 6 lines. Then it became nonstop to the point where my nose hurt. So then my boyfriend introduced smoking speed to me, which was the worst thing he could have done, because when you smoke speed, it makes you want it so much more every 5 minutes. And for my little heart, I mean, I was just a mess. I couldn't eat. I weighed 80 pounds. My life was crumbling around me.
Jenna's fragile self-esteem plummeted faster than her weight.
And I was so alone. I didn't know where my dad was. I didn't know where Jenna went. I didn't know what I was gonna do. And one day, my boyfriend came to me and he said, I'm leaving you.
And I remember getting to the point where I'm like, I have to suck it up. And I have to call my dad. He said, you don't sound good. "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Daddy, no, I'm not okay. I'm hooked on drugs, and I want to quit."
I told her immediately, I'll get in a car and I'll drive down to Las Vegas and I'll pick you up.
I said, "Dad, I can't make the drive. I'm too sick." I hadn't eaten in weeks, and I couldn't even get up and walk. So I said, "Dad, I'm gonna fly. I have a friend that will take me to the airport and walk me to the gate."
Jenna's dad picked her up at the terminal in Redding.
And when she got off the plane, I was absolutely floored. She only weighed about 75 pounds, extremely sick, very weak, had to come off the plane in a wheelchair.
And I remember being so ill that I couldn't look my dad in the eye. I was embarrassed because I was always the strong one. Sorry.
Larry Mazzoli nursed his daughter back to health. By the time she turned 18 in the spring of 1992, Jenna was drug-free and ready to roar again. This time, she was determined to keep firmly in control of her life.
I had just been discovered by an agent and started doing magazine work. And I always wanted to do it because I had looked at my dad's penthouses and Playboys, and finally my dream was coming true.
Brad Willis was among the first photographers to shoot Jameson. Willis was stunned by Jenna's natural charisma.
The first time I photographed Jenna, she was very young, and what I was really struck by was how comfortable she was in front of the camera.
Jenna also impressed 19-year-old nude model Nikki Tyler. The feeling was mutual.
I met Nikki Tyler on a shoot for Suze Randall for Cherie magazine, and we locked eyes, and I fell in love with her. At the time, I was living with my father in Northern California. I wanted my own place, but I didn't have the means to do it. And she took me in. And I moved from my father's house to LA to pursue my career.
And pursue Nikki.
She was very motherly to me. She was always there when I needed her, when I was vulnerable and I thought that I couldn't go on. She was the one that kicked me in my ass and said, "Quit crying." So she's pretty much the only woman I've ever truly loved in a relationship way. And that's probably because I was looking for a mother figure.
By the end of 1992, lots of people were looking for Jenna. Jameson sizzled on page after page in explicit girly magazines. The 18-year-old hottie epitomized lustful desire.
And I remember thinking, okay, look at the camera like you would look at a man you wanted to have sex with.
The tactic worked, over and over again. As Jenna's reputation grew, a move into adult videos seemed almost inevitable.
I told myself, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna take my clothes off in front of millions of people, I'm gonna take it to the next level.
She asked how I would feel about it, whether I would be devastated by it, and I initially reluctantly told her that I would support her no matter what she did.
After getting Daddy's blessing, Jenna eagerly jumped into doing adult videos with both feet.
I wanted to be the biggest porn star ever, and I wouldn't stop until I became that person.
Coming up, the not-so-blushing bride.
She was having serious doubts and questions on the day of the wedding.
During her teenage years, Jenna Jameson learned to parlay saucy sex appeal into a promising career, and there was no turning back. In the spring of 1993, 19-year-old Jenna Jameson crossed over into the X-rated world of adult video.
And I thought, okay, I'll only do girl-girl. It's not really like having sex. It's no big deal. At that time, I was bisexual.
And it came naturally, and the sex just flowed, and it felt good. And I'm like, okay, I'll take this another step further. My first boy-girl film was called Cherry Pie.
Once the scene began, it all started flowing just like it did with the girl-girl scenes. And then I remember looking up at him, and a little bead of sweat dropped down onto my nose. I was like, ew, disgust. And I got up and I ran. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is totally disgusting. He's sweated on me.
Jenna seemed less concerned about the health risks of unprotected sex.
I don't think I was thinking incredibly clearly about the ramifications of doing what I was doing. I mean, everybody was tested for HIV at that time, and that was good enough for me.
Professionally, Jenna was hitting her stride. Personally, she hit the wall with girlfriend Nikki Tyler.
The problem was is she got married, and it was the three of us living in a house, and it was hard on him, and it was hard on her seeing me get into the adult industry. It wasn't something that she agreed with at that time, and we had a huge falling out. I felt alone again because she kicked me out, and it was the first time in my life that I had to live alone. And I felt so crushed having her leave me. It was just like another abandonment in my life.
Undaunted, Jenna forged ahead.
I came to the conclusion after I had done a few films that the best way to become a huge star is to be a contract girl. The first person I wanted to go to was Steve Hirsch at Vivid. So I got up enough balls to walk in there.
Hirsch was co-CEO of Vivid Entertainment, a major player in the porn biz.
It wasn't like she was doing it for the money. It seemed as if she really enjoyed what she was doing. That comes through on the camera. Plus, she had this magnetism that is very, very rare. We talked about working together in the future and how that scenario might play out.
I wanted to pit a couple companies against each other to see how much money I could make. So I went into Wicked.
Ultimately, she decided to work with the company that she felt would focus solely on her.
And keep her busy. Jenna made a deal with Wicked Pictures that called for a heavy workload.
That contract committed me to 8 films a year for 1 year with an option for another year. I was paid per picture when I first signed with Wicked. I was making $6,000 a movie. That sounded like huge money to me at that time.
The newest Wicked woman didn't look anything like a gold mine to sales VP Joy King.
I'll never forget the first time I met Jenna sitting in his office, and just this little tiny thing, and I'm like, this little girl, she's the next it?
In 1995, makeup artist Lee Garland worked on Blue Movie, Jenna's first big-budget Wicked video.
I pulled up the first day on the set, walk into the makeup room, and she was already there, and here's this little girl who looked 15. She was wearing white pajamas with yellow duckies on them, with feet in them, right? And she was all kind of, hi. And I'm like, hi, who are you? She says, I'm Jenna. I'm like, you're Jenna? And it was just astonishing. So as I put the glamour on her, all of a sudden, this creature started to emerge, and pow, it was Jenna Jameson.
Mark Kearns, senior editor of Adult Video News.
Star quality is always so hard to describe. You've either got it or you don't, and she's got it.
Jenna's friend, penthouse pet Melissa Ann Goldsmith.
They broke the mold when they made her. That's no lie. There's no messing around with her.
Jenna's co-star, Mark Davis.
She's very confident within herself, and she has a very, very high, strong sexual appetite. It can be intimidating for some people.
But veteran porn star T.T. Boy wasn't intimidated when he worked with Jenna in Blue Movie. He was turned on.
That was like a jungle hunter, and she's in a tent. Oh, it was great. The director said, do this, and she was so damn good.
I wanted to be a good actress. I didn't want to just be good at sex. I wanted to be able to be believable.
An actress is there for what? To make you believe something, right? That's exactly what Jenna does. But she does it so good that you can't help it but believe it's really, I mean, it's real, you know what I mean?
Adult film publicist Carly Milne.
What made Blue Movie so special is the fact that Jenna's personality really came out into it as well. She knew how to rock the camera personally as well as sexually.
Jenna also rocked 30-year-old Rodney Hopkins, an actor-director known by his stage name, Brad Armstrong.
She met Brad in '95. He was a contract director with the company. They worked on a lot of high-level projects together.
He never struck me as someone that I would be attracted to, let alone go out with. He chased me for months, trying to go out with me.
At the same time, Jenna was busy chasing radio personality Howard Stern.
Howard Stern was pivotal in my career. I first got onto his show by sending my picture to him. And I remember him talking on the radio about me, saying, I just got this picture of this girl who says she's an adult film star and she looks like a supermodel. I was like, whatever. But he automatically booked me for a show.
Jenna appeared on the Howard Stern Show in December 1995. Stern was mesmerized. A few months later, he insisted that Jenna audition for a role in Private Parts, a movie based on his best-selling book.
I actually had to do a cold reading with Howard. I cannot tell you how scared I was. I mean, that's a lot of pressure for a girl that was 22 at the time. And I nailed it. And Howard looked at me and he goes, you got it, girl. I was like, yes! It was my first major role in a big screen movie.
Meanwhile, Jameson continued to churn out more and more product for Wicked Pictures. Consumer demand was voracious, and so was Jenna.
When I first began doing movies, it was so new and so fun, and I was horny, and I just wanted to have sex.
In each incarnation, Jenna became a carnal chameleon.
This is the box cover for the movie Conquest. We popped that little pirate headband on and the whole thing just came to life. This is from a movie, Wicked Weapon. It was futuristic and I got to do some extreme makeups and hairdos. This movie was called Cover to Cover, where she played a librarian who would pick up these classic books and fantasize herself into each scenario.
Jenna also had fun in a series of televised appearances, highlighted by an extremely revealing interview at the Cannes Film Festival in May 1996.
Well, right now, as you can see, I'm in the shower, and I'm rushing to get to the awards. I kind of woke up late. I've been sleeping late lately, so I'm rushing, and you caught me at a very awkward moment.
Later that year, director Rodney Hopkins, a.k.a. Brad Armstrong, caught Jenna too.
He drove me insane. And he chased me and wore me down. And finally I went out with him because at the time I lived alone, so I was a little lonely. And he kind of grew on me.
One thing led to another. They started dating, and next thing you know, it was, plans for a wedding. It all happened pretty quickly.
The lavish ceremony took place in Los Angeles on December 20th, 1996.
My wedding with Rod was huge. I went to such lengths to make this the grandest wedding ever.
They chose to have their wedding at the Wilshire Ebell, which is this lovely old venue. I designed every flower arrangement. I had 24 6-foot candelabras going down the aisle.
I was one of her bridesmaids. It was one of the most beautiful weddings I'd ever seen.
22-year-old Jenna looked radiant.
And I wore a big, beautiful princess gown. I wanted it to be a fairy tale.
Jenna was absolutely, bar none, the most beautiful bride I have ever seen.
I walked upstairs and they were fitting her with the gown, and as
As rough an ex-policeman as I thought I was brought to tears immediately when I saw her.
But looks were deceiving.
Honestly, she was having serious doubts and questions on the day of the wedding itself.
An hour before I was supposed to walk down that aisle, I looked at my father and I said, "Dad, I don't want to marry him."
Coming up, Jenna gets her groove on with Marilyn.
He liked to bite the inside of my arm.
September 2nd, the terror is back.
Hi-yo!
Oh yeah! It's an all-new season of Saturday Night Live on E!
You just don't see enough SNL reruns on cable, do you?
E is the only place to catch every SNL from last year. SNL on E! Weeknights at 6.
And think.
It's really amazing what a little hair and makeup can do.
It's not Tom Cruise, you have to prove it to me.
Facing Fame, Sunday at 10:30 on E!
You're gonna hire a family to relive your childhood?
Woohoo!
Warning.
This is a slip and slide.
Dickie, there has to be water on it!
Dickie Roberts will cause side-splitting laughter. The kids will love David Spade, and the adults will get a kick out of the child stars.
You're laced, Garrett. Can I have your autograph?
You guys want my autograph too?
No, I'm fine.
How about if I put on a $5 bill?
Make it a 20?
You'll wish Dickie Roberts was part of your family.
Teach me how to ride a bike.
Dickie Roberts, rated PG-13.
In December 1996, porn star Jenna Jameson was a vision in white at her fairy tale wedding. But a happy ending was nowhere in sight. By January 1997, reality set in for 22-year-old Jenna Jameson. Her new husband, Rodney Hopkins, was clearly not the right guy.
He lacked the passion that I needed. I like a man to be straightforward and confident, and he really was a little meek for me.
Worse, Jenna and Rod worked together on several videos for Wicked Pictures.
Immediately after their wedding, he began to direct some of her movies, and Rod is one of the most difficult taskmasters there is to work for.
They started having some issues, but he was still our director, and she was still our big actress. So it definitely created some inner conflict, and it made it difficult shooting big movies. And there was the issue of them working with other people, which was always, kind of awkward.
Within the business, it is very hard to have a marriage and be having sex, and it takes a toll on a relationship after a period of time.
Just 10 weeks after Jenna's nuptials, the honeymoon and the marriage were over.
I knew that it wasn't going to work.
Jameson threw herself into her career with a vengeance. Jenna even gained some notoriety as a mainstream actress for her work in Howard Stern's Private Parts. The movie premiered in March 1997.
It really helped Jenna in terms of showing her as also being an actress as opposed to just being a sexual performer.
So just watch out for Jenna Jameson, I'm taking over.
Jenna celebrated her big screen debut in true rock and roll fashion.
Marilyn Manson and I met at the Howard Stern premiere, and we were inseparable that whole night. We ended up going back to his hotel room and having a good time. He was freaky, but I liked that.
Jenna and Marilyn were a match made in kinky heaven.
He had a little fetish with biting that threw me off kilter a little bit. He liked to bite the inside of my arm right here. And it wasn't just biting, it was kind of like a sucking vampire sort of thing. And I'm like, hey, whatever floats your boat, baby.
Jenna embodied the party vibe of the late 1990s. Jameson was a natural choice to guest host the wildest show on TV.
Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
Doing Wild On for the E! Channel was the best time of my life. I had the most fun. I was so young, and they took me all over the globe.
Doing the E! Channel did a lot for her career early on and really got her some recognition.
As I got wild on the island. See you next time.
But Jenna's main claim to fame remained Queen of Porn. She ruled with a killer bod in a velvet robe.
One of the reasons Jenna has been so successful in the adult video business is because she's kept her mind on track.
Jenna has really revolutionized the way the adult industry operates because of how much control she took over her career.
She is very much into controlling, but she must be because she is her own product.
I'm a very opinionated person.
She knows what she wants, and she will not stop until she gets it.
I think about absolutely everything I do. I analyze everything to make sure that it's correct.
She's the smartest girl I ever met in the porno business.
I can be extremely selfish sometimes. I can think that the world revolves around me. I can get caught up in my own hype. I can be downright mean sometimes.
Cinematographer Jay Gerdina knew all about Hurricane Jenna. She first blew onto his soundstage 3 years earlier.
When I first met Jenna, I thought she was very cute, but I thought she was young and a little bratty.
He owned a film studio that we shot a lot of my movies at, and I would always see him running around like a maniac.
She'd come on set and she would control the crew. You know, I'm like, no one's going to come on my set and tell me what to do, especially talent. I mean, this is my show. And she was powerful. And so it was always that butting heads.
He struck me as the most arrogant, irritating man I had ever met.
Fast forward to the summer of 1998. Jenna changed her tune when she spotted Jay at a party in Las Vegas.
All of a sudden, he was hot. And he had lost that whole arrogance factor. And a friend of mine went up to him and told him that I was interested.
And I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. So we started talking.
And I think that he was surprised by a lot of the things that I had to say. I remember thinking, what am I doing? I'm gonna fall in love with this guy.
A few months later, Jenna moved into Jay's home in Phoenix, Arizona. With a new boyfriend by her side, Jameson partied like it was 1999. For good reason. In May of that year, The Hollywood Reporter took notice when Jameson was honored at the Porn Oscars in Cannes, France. The Jenna juggernaut seemed unstoppable. Jenna did not take success for granted. The savvy siren socked away her savings.
I have a 401, I'm invested in mutual funds, I have real estate all over. I'm worth a lot of money.
But there was more to Jenna Jameson than a bulging bank account.
The most important thing about Jenna is that she's a real person. And she's by far the sexiest woman to ever step foot on this planet.
Jenna's new romance was cause for concern at Wicked Pictures. She was just starting production on her next video.
Originally, Jenna was going to be doing 3 scenes in the movie, a couple of them with guys. Once we actually started filming the project, she started having some serious second thoughts.
Jenna was in love with Jay, and work was getting in the way.
When I'm in a committed relationship, I love that man, and I don't want to have sex with any other man.
There were nights we got home from the set at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was crying until 4, trying to decide if she could go through it.
As Jenna pondered her dilemma, she suddenly had a vision of her destiny and the meaning of her life.
Love, sex, love, sex, love, sex, love, sex, love, sex, love, sex.
Not me, Jenna Jameson. I'm never naked.
It's not reality.
Coming up, let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
They're the ones who always write the letter, you know, I wish you'd die, burn in hell.
By early 2000, Jenna Jameson was a certified porn superstar. Her adult videos and explicit photos grossed millions. But being a world-famous sex symbol came with a definite downside. When 25-year-old Jenna Jameson danced on the gentlemen's club circuit, she always banked big bucks. Jenna's assistants helped collect the dough, and sometimes they helped themselves.
There's always going to be hangers-on, so to speak, or people who are trying to get your financial means into their possession.
It pisses these people off when they see how much money I'm making, and they feel they deserve a cut of the goods.
Jenna's had assistants in the past that I would just term scandalous. She had one little guy that went on the road with her, and Jenna at that time wanted to videotape her performances on stage. And a couple years later, this guy still had possession of the tapes. He sold them to a competitor of ours.
Jenna quickly learned to protect her money, but she still needed to protect herself.
We have a special file, it's called the stalker file, and we have it for fan mail.
Jenna's administrative assistant, Linda Johnson.
We receive a lot of mail from people who are really obsessed with her, and it's frightening.
People send you pictures of their rooms, and it's a collage, floor to ceiling, and the whole ceiling covered of Jenna. And you're like, doo-doo, you're all cuckoo, cuckoo.
When Jenna appeared in public, the wackos came out of the woodwork.
Every night I go to the hotel from the club, I am followed by at least 6 or 7 guys.
It's very risky being on the road, especially for Jenna because of her broad spectrum of fans. You always get the stalkers.
Jenna's friend and co-star, Brianna Banks.
You've always got to be on very high guard when you're at clubs, especially Jenna.
2 or 3 in the morning, I have guys trying to break my door down. And you feel so helpless.
Jenna is not like Pamela Anderson or Jenny McCarthy. The stalkers see her in a very intimate way. They see her making love, they see her having sex, so they think they know her.
As a virtual poster girl for pornography, Jenna was a high-profile target.
There are interviews and statements from people that, think that she's, evil because she's a porn star.
The Reverend Lou Sheldon, chairman of the Traditional Values Coalition.
What Jenna Jameson is doing is clearly a moral and spiritual sin. It is a violation of everything that God intended for man and woman to have in sexual relationships.
The extremist Christian fundamentalist groups, and they're usually the nastiest people out there. They're the ones who always write the letter, I wish you'd die, burn in hell. Someone's always going to have a stone that they'll cast at you.
UCLA psychology professor Gail Wyatt suggests adult videos fuel a nationwide sex epidemic.
We need to be responsible sexual beings as adults and model for our children and for future generations the way that they can stay healthy, to be protective of themselves and to be selective and not feel that sex is a sport.
Feminist author Tammy Bruce.
Pornography plays a big role in an image of women as objects to be used, as objects that exist for men's pleasure. It dehumanizes women.
These people need to get off their high horse. It's as simple as that.
But being a porn star is not so simple. To measure up, many actresses are pressured to get breast implants. Jenna was no exception.
I was told that in order to be a contract star or in order to get a box cover, you have to be very buxom. I wasn't happy with the first results of my breast augmentation. The more I looked at them in pictures, the more I was like, God, I wish I would have stayed the way I was. And I felt kind of trapped into this body that really wasn't me.
A second doctor created a more natural look.
I trusted him to fix me, and he took me back closer to what I used to look like.
Still, in many circles, Jenna's appearance wasn't the issue.
Human beings weren't made to use their bodies for sale.
We get paid more than the men. We call the shots. We say who we want to work with. In what way is that degrading? That's us taking hold of our life.
That's a very common response that you hear from a lot of people. However, the issue is they're still using their bodies for a means to an end. The end is money, and the means is sex.
There is a small element out there which is so rabidly against the adult video industry that they'll go out there, they'll picket video stores.
From my experience, the people that look down upon what I do for a living are the closet perverts. Trust me, I know. I've danced for them.
Coming up, love conquers all.
I just broke down. I totally broke down.
Between 1995 and 2000, Jenna Jameson became the undisputed queen of porn. Despite all her success, Jenna was eager to expand her empire. By early 2000, 25-year-old Jenna Jameson was a sizzling sensation and more than ready to cash in.
I wanted to be the head of my own company.
When we came up with the concept of Club Jenna, we wanted to mainstream and brand Jenna's name.
I'm the one and only girl in the industry that has realized the benefits of merchandising. I followed in the footsteps of a lot of mainstream stars that had their own perfumes, their own line of clothing. I thought, well, nobody in the adult industry has done this. Why don't I?
We started with the Jenna bobblehead. From there, we went into, we're doing Jenna jeans. We have Jenna's toy line, and it's distributed through Doc Johnson.
Who would come up with the idea of a pubic trimmer except for Jenna? You gotta give it to the girl. She is smart.
Underwear, t-shirts, boxer shorts, fun stuff, baseball hats. Actually, Jenna is a brand name and I own it.
And consumers wanted to own Jenna. In August 2000, Wicked Pictures released Dream Quest. Sales and rentals were strong.
Does it always have to be about sex?
Meanwhile, another dream was about to come true for Jenna. On Christmas Eve 2000, she received a surprise gift, a proposal from boyfriend Jay Gardina.
I had a shirt made up that said, "Marry me," M-E-R-R-Y, me, and I had a ribbon holding a ring.
And I just broke down. I totally broke down. He loved me enough to think that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me.
But there was one lump of coal hidden among the goodies.
She was legally still married to her previous husband. They've been separated for years prior to that. It was just the fact of it hasn't been annulled yet.
Finally, in March 2001, Jameson and Rodney Hopkins legally separated and soon divorced. Jenna was more interested in her future than her past. During the next 9 months, she went from XXX to PG, nabbing plum roles in mainstream projects, including an animated TV show.
When I did The Family Guy, that's when I knew my popularity was hitting a peak. When they get you to do a cartoon character of yourself, that's a big deal.
You're gonna love it at our house, Jenna Jameson.
Still, Jameson was careful not to stray too far from her roots or her fans. In fall 2001, the cable TV series The Man Show featured Jenna as a booby prize for lucky audience members.
They made me do Naked Twister with just these random guys. It was so crazy.
Jenna continued to crave mainstream approval. In November 2001, she accepted an invitation to participate in a debate on the merits of pornography at prestigious Oxford University in England. Before leaving, Jenna asked her dad for advice.
I went on about a 45-minute harangue about, don't defend yourself, tell it like it is.
Jenna's team squared off against a panel of anti-porn activists. To everyone's surprise, the articulate actress won the debate by a vote of 204 to 27. Jenna was clearly on a roll, and her new company was rolling right along with her.
Brianna Loves Jenna was the first movie that Jenna and I produced through Club Jenna.
I was able to direct myself. I didn't have a director looking at me and telling me, okay, we want this position next. I was able to let the sex flow.
Co-star Brianna Banks worshipped Jenna.
She is very good at what she does, and she's definitely had a lot of experience.
I saw something in her that reminded me of me.
when I first started the industry. So I took her under my wing.
She's a giver.
Jameson also gave a helping hand to fellow porn actor Bobby Vitale.
I had a little problem with cocaine. Jenna invited me out to her house, and I went to Casa de Jenna, rehab. She took care of me for 3 weeks, cooked me filet mignon, macaroni and cheese, sobered me up, got me back in feet, got my confidence back, everything.
By the end of 2001, it was all good for 27-year-old Jameson. Her career was red hot and about to become even hotter. Coming up, beware of the no-spin zone.
I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life.
Jenna Jameson entered the 21st century by exposing herself to mainstream America. But adult videos were where Jenna really sizzled. 2002 proved to be an exceptional time for 27-year-old Jenna Jameson. Still, despite her sexy image, Jenna's personal life was not exactly a non-stop orgy.
I've had to fight a lot of preconceived notions, like me being a bitch, or me being a nympho, or pretty much being a sex maniac. That's what people think. And it's not something that I deny. I mean, I love sex. I probably love sex more than the average American, but I'm a monogamous girl.
With occasional exceptions.
She was my first girl experience, and wow. Before Jenna, I never thought, even dreamed, I would be into that.
On camera, Jenna had many loyal subjects, and none more dedicated than co-star Brianna Banks.
I can vouch that she does make love to a woman better than a man.
Vivid Entertainment distributed Brianna Loves Jenna, which became the best-selling adult video of 2002.
Brianna Loves Jenna, both video and DVD, has sold close to 100,000 pieces since its release. And that is amazing. And that is something that you very, very rarely see. And you see it as a result of a mega superstar like Jenna Jameson.
We knew it was going to be #1. I mean, Jenna's in it. It's never even a question. I mean, the sales on Jenna movies are astronomical.
When I look at the film, it's so real. It looks like what I do at home.
Club Jenna's next production satirized a classic television series.
I think parodies are kind of ridiculous, especially in the adult industry. It was my fiance's idea, and the reason why he wanted to do it is because he thought that I looked like Barbara Eden in I Dream of Jeannie.
Your wish is my command, master.
So he wrote the script, and I read it, and I thought it was so hilarious that I agreed to it.
I Dream of Jenna probably had a budget of somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000. It's going to retail at about $40 a piece, and my understanding, they've sold about 40,000 copies right now. So I think, what are we talking about, $1.6 million gross? That's a tidy profit on an adult video. I Dream of Jenna is going to be selling for years to come.
The money poured in from video sales and from the wildly popular Club Jenna internet site.
More than any other website on the net, we're looking at 100 to 200,000 uniques minimum a day of people that come in and view it.
She's really bridged a lot of gaps in terms of how much power women are allowed to have in the industry. When you have a name like Jenna, you let her do what she wants because she can.
And in January 2002, Jenna wanted to make herself into a living doll.
Things are changing so much when it comes to action figures. This is anatomically correct.
Jameson was the first adult film star to be laser mapped. Jerry Macaluso owns the Plastic Fantasy Novelty Company.
What we will do is we'll have a scan made. The scan goes into the computer. We get a wax version back at the size we want the toy.
All I know is that my doll is going to kick Barbie's ass.
Meanwhile, Jenna continued to get her kicks in mainstream projects. On May 20th, 2002, Jameson made her MTV debut in a music video featuring the bad boy of rap.
Shooting the Without Me video with Eminem was amazing.
My scene was in bed with him, and I remember when I first got in bed, I could feel him shaking a little, which I thought was so cute. I like intimidated him a little bit. And in all actuality, he intimidated me. He was a superstar, you know? And after we were done filming our scene, he took it upon himself to jump on top of me and dry hump me.
Jenna climbed into bed with the most unlikely people. On August 26, 2002, Jameson butted heads with Bill O'Reilly on the Fox Network news show, The O'Reilly Factor.
When I was first contacted to be on the Bill O'Reilly show, I initially said absolutely not. But then I sat down and I talked to Jay, and he said, Jenna, this is something that you really need to do in defense of the industry.
She goes, he's going to chew me up and spit me out. He's not nice to people. I go, Jenna, everyone respects you. Don't even stress about it.
I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I went to New York, and I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life.
Fox News writer-producer Marvin Himmelfarb.
Knowing Jenna, I'm sure everything was calculated. Her dress was, she looked like a lawyer that day. I mean, well, a sexy lawyer, but a lawyer. I mean, nothing low cut or anything. And I think everybody was a little tense probably as to how it was going to turn out. And, and how, not so much for Bill, but how would Jenna handle it? Is this guy going to murder her? I mean, is she going to run off in tears? Because that could have happened.
The minute I sat down in that chair, all the fear left me. When I looked him in the eye, I looked at him like he was my equal, and he didn't scare me.
He was practically berating her and calling her a whore to her face, and she was sitting there saying, you know what, I don't feel like a whore. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. I'm good at what I do. This is a business.
I was able to fire back very easily. I think it really surprised him that I was so forthcoming and honest about the things that I've done in my career. And I think it kind of threw him off guard.
O'Reilly referred to her as a slut a couple of times, and that bothered me because Jenna isn't a slut. She's a businesswoman.
Bill challenged her, what he did, calling her a prostitute and things such as that, and she answered, every question. Bill, in the end, was impressed with her. He probably wouldn't say that, but I think he really was.
Bill O'Reilly was very judgmental of me during the interview. He was trying to make trivial points that everybody in America already knows. And when those cameras shut off,
he looked at me and he was like, yeah, it was a really great interview. I've never watched your movies before. Will you send me a few? I'm like thinking to myself, hot damn, this is perfect, because if he ever slams me again, I've got ammunition.
TV appearances, adult videos, a successful website, product merchandising. Jenna Jameson was a marketing machine, so her fans were not surprised when she inked a six-figure publishing deal in October 2002.
I came up with the idea. I really want to do an autobiography. I have so many amazing stories. And actually, to tell you the truth, I have a lot of things that I need to get off my chest.
Judith Regan is president of Regan Books.
How to Make Love Like a Porn Star is a combination of Jenna's life story, her autobiography, mixed with her sex tips about how to have a good sex life. I think readers are going to be surprised to see not only her funny side, but she has a very deep thinking side.
There weren't many deep thoughts in the Comedy Central made-for-cable movie Porn and Chicken, but there was Jenna.
Jenna, what do you think about the progress you've made for human sexuality and women's sexuality and the acceptance of that?
I try to be a role model sexually to these women, and I give as many tips as possible. Like, don't use lube, use spit.
A month later, in December 2002, Jenna switched from comedy to drama when production began on the NBC TV series Mr. Sterling. Executive producer Lawrence O'Donnell.
I just came to the scene of writing the moment where the porn star girlfriend would enter, and I just found myself writing Jenna Jameson into the scene.
Unlike Marilyn Chambers and Tracy Lords before her, Jenna easily found mainstream acceptance.
The stigma that porn stars have in Hollywood is that they can't act. That's what Hollywood holds against them the most. Jenna Jameson is a really capable actress.
I sometimes feel overwhelmed. I can't believe that this is little Jenna Mazzoli, because I'm still that little 15-year-old dork from Las Vegas.
Coming up, Jenna cements her reputation. Jenna Jameson was an adult video star, but she preferred to lead a normal life. Still, no matter where Jenna went, the spotlight followed her like a laser beam. 2002 was a lucrative year for Jenna, and in December, she was recognized at the annual Adult Video News Awards.
Brianna loves Jenna, Club Jenna, Vivid Video.
Oh yeah. Brianna Loves Jenna won best-selling DVD of all time. I wasn't really surprised. She took me by the hand and led me on the stage and, you know, kind of let me be a part of it.
But not everyone loved Jenna. On February 24th, 2003, outspoken pundit Bill O'Reilly took aim once again. This time, O'Reilly criticized execs at Pony Shoes for their decision to pick a porn star to hawk products.
Bill O'Reilly likes to create dramatic television, and he's the king of it.
He was bagging on Jenna when she started doing her pony ads for pony tennis shoes. And he said, you know, how we have these quasi-prostitutes selling shoes to our children, and Jenna Jameson, our favorite prostitute, out in the front, leading the bandwagon. You know, he's up on his soapbox preaching to the world, this and that.
After his rude little comment about me being a quasi-hooker, I figured, oh, maybe I'll, you know, say a few different things about him asking me for movies. And a lot of people got a hold of those little comments that I said, and he felt the need to comment on it on the next show.
And Jenna, you know, just sent him a little email. Just, you know, Bill, do you remember when he asked me for those tapes? I'm sure it was for professional reasons only. And he brought it up on his show the next night. And he read the email from her, and he goes, and he winked.
He was a little tongue-in-cheek about it, saying, oh yeah, of course it was for professional reasons.
The battle with Bill O'Reilly created quite a buzz. But the controversy failed to generate much hype from Mr. Sterling, NBC's version of Capitol Hill.
Well, I was very, very disappointed that we didn't get any flack or criticism. I was really disappointed by this, especially since Bill O'Reilly on the Fox News Channel around that time was criticizing another company for using Jenna Jameson.
Bend at the knees.
You bend at the knees for a change.
Jenna appeared in 2 episodes of Mr. Sterling. She played a politician's girlfriend.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
Jenna Jameson, the porn star? She doesn't do porn anymore.
But the ratings were less than Sterling, and the series was canceled after just 9 episodes.
I tried to get the information to the Fox News Channel that Jenna Jameson was appearing in an NBC show made by the Universal Television Studio, and there should be a massive protest against both NBC and Universal so that I could get some viewers to this show.
Jenna had no such trouble drawing viewers to her Playboy paid TV special in March 2003. The Jenna Jameson Strippers Ball was the bomb.
You think you know how I party? Just wait till you see how hot I get.
2 weeks after the Strippers Ball, Jenna signed an unprecedented 7-year distribution contract. The agreement solidified her status as the top adult video star in the world.
My new deal with Vivid is landmark for the industry. It encompasses quite a few different things. Usually a contract is just for movies, to perform in movies. This contract encompasses directing, starring, absolutely everything that I want to do. It's for 7 years and 15 movies, which is quite a bit of work.
Club Jenna does everything. They put up all the money, they do all the production, they pay for all of the marketing, they pay for the videotapes to be duplicated, for the DVDs to be replicated. and we simply act as distributors.
It's the first deal of its kind wherein a star of Jenna Jameson's caliber has her company, she's in control, she makes what she wants to make.
Then, on April 17th, 2003, Jenna was inducted into the Hustler Walk of Fame by publisher Larry Flint.
This is a special day for us at Hustler Hollywood, inducting Jenna Jameson as our latest star for the Porn Walk of Fame.
It's a little bit overwhelming. Like, I'm at the point in my career where it feels really weird to have so many people looking at me. A lot of the times I think about what I do for a living, and I think that my mom would be proud of me because I've always stayed true to my feelings. And I'm a sexual being, and that's all that really matters, is that I'm a happy girl.
When Jenna wasn't hustling up publicity, she was turning heads. Jameson attracted considerable attention at rock star Vince Neil's 2003 charity golf tournament.
How come your club's so small? I love to golf, but it's so incredibly hard when these are right in the way. I mean, it's like when you try to get a good swing.
It wasn't practice, I swear to God.
You just gotta throw down really hard, you know what I mean? And knock them around.
Jenna's participation guaranteed major donations for medical research.
The last couple of years, she's hosted the auction. And so, nothing like having Jenna on a microphone and getting guys to open their wallets up.
$3,000 sold! Sold!
Coming up, inside Jenna's bedroom.
Okay, everyone, this is what you've been waiting for.
Video star Jenna Jameson proved that she could stand up to her most ardent critics. But Jenna fought the toughest battles in her off hours. Ever wonder what a typical Saturday is like for a world-famous porn star? It's not what you might think.
Yes, I wear these kind of slippers.
5, 4, 3 to go. 2. Come on, finish it.
Mommy. It's not easy being me.
It's a perfect day to be insane.
There's one. One more to drop away.
I'll bring home more in a semi-truck full, babe.
Okay.
We're off to the mall, my very favorite place in the whole entire world. It's a rare treat that I actually go to the mall. Right now my credit cards are free and clear, so just stand back and watch the master at work.
This is high security, baby.
So fabulous. Okay, I'm excited.
That's right, J-Lo, eat your heart out, right?
That's right.
I got you by 3 carats, baby. We have arrived.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Will you just put your initials on my boobs?
Sure.
I have very little cleavage, but...
Oh, no, it's there, darling.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. How do you know who I am?
Everyone knows who you are.
Watching the E! Channel too much? Let the party begin.
Well, I'm working on a 6-day or a 10-day shoot.
Right.
That was fun.
Later, maybe when it's done.
This is Peter. He is the best when it comes to shopping.
She's family.
We have just arrived home, and I'm now going to get undressed, and I'm going to show you through my lovely home. Okay, everyone, this is what you've been waiting for. Step into my bedroom. This
is where I make whoopee on my off days. Go on in, I'll show you my closet. This is the thing that I am the most proud of. I'm gonna take you guys into my office where I do a lot of my business. This is my 2003 AVN Awards for All Girls Sex Scene. My Hustler Award, this is a very prestigious award. Not many people have this award. The famed bobblehead of me, which it doesn't really bobble that well. Well, I guess if you go back and forth, it bobbles. And now I am going to give you a tour of my tattoos.
I've never seen anything so beautiful.
And then my very last tattoo is the one that's dearest to my heart. It's Jay's name on my ring finger. So pretty much, he's with me till I'm dead.
Coming up, Jenna makes a solemn vow.
I'm gonna go to heaven.
In March 2003, adult video icon Jenna Jameson signed a landmark deal with Vivid Entertainment. Jenna then turned the camera on her home life. She was finally ready to focus on being a wife and mother. By June 2003, Jenna Jameson's empire was still expanding, beyond her wildest imagination.
My career right now is booming. It's certainly crazier than I ever thought it would be.
But at the same time, 29-year-old Jenna prepared to put her work on hold. She finally set a date for her wedding to 35-year-old Jay Gardina, her boyfriend of 5 years.
I want to get married, and I want to have kids. I'm not nervous in any way.
Jenna and Jay were married on June 22, 2003, in the backyard of Casa de Jenna, their lavish home in Scottsdale, Arizona. But even as she basked in wedded bliss, Jenna's life remained incomplete.
What Jenna's missing in her life now is kids. I think she's ready to have kids. She wants little rugrats.
My main goal, since I've turned into a woman, was to be a mom. And I have met a man now, finally, that I want to be the father of my children.
We might have the first kid, he might be frickin' Satan with horns and a tail and go, ah, no more kids, no more. The first one might come out and it's so perfect and go, let's stop there. You never know, we just take it one day at a time. And when the timing's right, we'll have kids.
Still, Jenna and Jay face a serious dilemma.
You know, obviously, one of the biggest concerns when you get in the adult industry is, what am I gonna tell my kids?
Having to explain to your children why you did it and no longer might do it, and why you don't want them to do it, is really the challenge. Because many children will ask their parents, if you did it, why can't I?
The fact that Jenna wants a child, like most women do in this nation, is fine. But if she's saying she wants to stop her work, well, does that mean she's not proud of it?
That there are quite a few people out there in America that feel that what I'm doing is morally wrong. And the way I look at it is, what is most important here is that I'm happy, and it's something that I have chosen to do. It's not something that I push on anyone else. So for them to impose their beliefs on me is ridiculous.
When we have children, absolutely are we going to tell them. Because I think it's something that they shouldn't feel that they should be ashamed of.
And I know how important it is for her to never have her child feel the way that she felt growing up without a mother.
So, to be a mom and be able to guide my child means everything in the world to me.
Becoming a mom means something else for Jenna. No more porn.
Jenna and I have talked about her plans to leave the porno business to start a family, and I think that that's the only way she can do it. I can't imagine having children and being a porn star.
I don't think she'll ever retire because she loves to work.
Once we have kids, she won't perform it as far as adult movies. She'll start branching out more towards mainstream. Do I think she'll always be in the public eye?
And in the crosshairs of the critics.
Jenna Jameson is an evil person. She has refused to understand what our civilization is built upon. It is built upon a premise that we are all God's creatures.
Jenna made a choice that selling oneself and compromising one's integrity is worth it for whatever amount of money. That lack of value, that moral relativism, will be passed on to her children.
But does that mean Jenna is destined for the gates of hell or the pearly gates?
Jenna's going to go to heaven because she's been a good person. I mean, her heart is amazing. She doesn't have a bad bone in her body. I mean, she's the first person to help out a friend and anyone in need.
Jenna will go to heaven because, you know what? Just because she does porno doesn't make her a bad person.
Jenna Jameson is directly leading herself to hell at this moment with using her body as a sex object.
I've never been to confession. I'd probably be in that booth for days and days on end.
Jenna's going to heaven because she really is a good person, and she'll make everyone up there laugh.
I love her, so I hope she goes to heaven. Or if maybe she'll like it better in hell. I don't know. She may have more fun.
Is she going to go to heaven? That's between Jenna and God.
One of the things we used to say to each other just as a joke would be, oh, we're going to hell in a handbag.
I'm going to go to heaven because I am a good person, and I have a good soul, and I care about people. I care more about other people than I do myself. And I think that that certainly will give me a few points on getting through the gates.